What's going on, everyone? Guess what? I got myself a new dash cam, and in this video I'm going to show you which one I went with, how I hardwired it, and how I like it. Stay tuned. Oh, and guess what? It's a 2-channel system.
Why you so oh, that maneira.
There are many cameras you could pick from. Most of them can be found on Amazon, and the one that I went with is this one. It's the LG Innotek 2-channel dual camera. So that means you have a camera in the front and another camera in the back. The front channel is 1080p, the rear is 720. And the reason why I picked this camera is the following. First, it's a 2-channel camera, which was my main requirement. 2, it supports up to 128 gigabyte MicroSD, which is great if you want to save a lot of stuff. And amongst other things, it's got a bunch of different options. What it also does is it's got a built-in car battery rundown prevention. So a lot of these cameras, especially Blackview, which is, I would say, is this camera's main competitor, offers the same option, but it's a separate box. This one has everything built in, so all you have to do is just plug in the wires in the fuse box, and you're good to go. So this is where I decided to mount it, right under the rear view mirror. It's barely noticeable from the driver's seat, so if you're sitting here, you don't really see it. It's kind of in the center, and then last but not least, I just didn't have any room to put it on this side. I have my radar detector here that's hardwired to my mirror. I've got my Easy Pass, which is mounted here, and there was just no room for me to mount it here. I don't want to obstruct the passenger view, so this was the next available option. The power for this camera comes from one source, and it's the fuse box. So I ran a cable from the fuse box to the camera, which is this thick wire here, and then from the camera you have this wire that goes to the back camera. Now I ran my wires the following way. They went up this way. I tucked them behind the headliner, so they're tucked behind the headliner, then this way, then down here, down this way, this way, this way, this way, this way. I pop this plastic open, and this is a picture of what it looks like with this plastic open. And if you have extra cables, you can this is your room to tuck it behind the carpet or under the carpet. So you pop this open and you can tuck the cables here. Then you go here under these plastics, and everything is nicely tucked. Let me move over to the back. It goes under the plastics here. Then you pop this plastic open, and this, again, if you can see at the pictures, or see from the pictures, it exposes you to a lot of room to play with the cables. So I ran it underneath, under the rubber strip to the side of the seat, and then I tucked it underneath the seat to the trunk. Now the fuses in this car are located in the back, or in the trunk. So this is what the fuses look like. The hardwire kit that's included in the camera comes with 3 wires. The ACC wire, which is red, the battery wire, which is yellow, and then the ground, which is black. And this is how I chose to connect it. Again, you have to do your homework and see what works for you. But I've discovered, by process of elimination, I figured out which fuses are active, which fuses are inactive when you shut down the car. If I remember correctly, I chose fuse 154 for the red, and I chose fuse 141, which is yellow. That's for the battery. And Don't judge me by this. I'm waiting for the fuse tab to come in from Amazon. I also use the fuse tab here that I also got on Amazon. It's a great solution for installing these things, and it's pretty straightforward. That's really all you have to do. You make sure that the wires are nicely tucked. This is not a good example. There you go, and it's as simple as that. So I'm not gonna review all the features of the camera because there are plenty of YouTube videos that can show you that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna talk to you about some of the key features that I really like about this camera, and hopefully you do too. The camera has 3 modes: driving, parking, and event. Driving is enabled as soon as you start the car. It goes into a driving mode and records your driving. An event mode is triggered by a shock that's sensed by a G sensor. So let's say, knock on wood, you get into an accident. The camera senses it and it records 10 seconds prior to the accident, and I believe 10 or 15 seconds after the accident, and it saves it in a different category. And then the last option is the parking mode. So as soon as you shut the car off, you give it a couple of seconds, and the camera goes into what it's called a parking mode, where it taps into your car's battery to power it for as many hours as possible. In the actual app, you can set a limit of how much do you want your car battery to drain before the camera shuts down. So, and that's the fail-safe feature that I was talking about. A lot of other auto cameras have that, but it's a separate box. This one has everything built in. All right, I had to pull into the garage. It's just too sunny outside for you to be able to see anything. So there you go. The car is off. As soon as I turn the ignition on, this is what happens.
Starting regular recording.
And when I turn the ignition off,
starting parking recording.
And now I'm going to show you how an event is triggered. So an event is triggered when you're driving or when you're parked. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slam my door and I'm going to show you what the camera is going to do. The door is open and I'm about to slam it. That doorbell signifies that a camera sensed an event, and it records it as an event. You can see it clearly in the app, and then it goes back when the light goes back to red. It goes back to its normal parking stat. Another feature that I really enjoy about this camera is this on and off switch. So when you park in your garage for, let's say, a long period of time and you don't want that battery to drain, all you have to do is flick the switch.
Shutting down system.
And the camera shut itself off. Now, one thing to notice when you're installing this camera and you want to connect wirelessly to your phone, you have to toggle through this button. So you have a button for local area network and audio. So if you tap the button once,
microphone is off.
You can turn off the microphone. Then if you tap it again,
microphone is on.
then the mic is on again. Now if you hold it for about 2 or 3 seconds,
Wi-Fi enabled.
this now enables you to connect to your phone. And to do it, it's quite simple. You open up your phone, go to the setting, make sure LG is connected, perfect. Then you go to your app, and then you've got a couple of options. You've got live view. There you go. This is a live view of my garage, and then you can also see the back, and this is the back. Now of course, as you browse through this app, you have your live view, you have your video view, which is what the camera has recorded. You've got what you've downloaded onto your phone, you've got the configuration, and obviously you've got the firmware update. So to see what you've recorded, you can see that it's categorized in these 3 folders. new, event, and parking. So you can, if you want to just filter by all the times you've parked, these are all the videos that you've recorded when you've been parked. These are all the events that the camera recorded. In the configuration menu, you have your basic settings, so you can adjust the video quality of the front and rear, motion sensitivity, parking sensor, audio volume, recording volume. This is an important function to me, cutoff voltage. So I have it set at 12.2. So once the battery reaches 12.2 volts, the camera's going to automatically cut off its recording feature and not drain the battery any further. It's got a high temperature shutdown sensor, so if the camera gets too high, you have the option to shut it down. Yeah, if you have a GPS module, you can, which I do not, but you can display how fast you're going and your location on the map, and a couple of other things. Other basic settings, your time, your daylight savings time, and all of that. You can set the camera to default, you can format the SD card, and you can have your wireless settings as well. So if you're in the market for a dash cam and want a good quality product that has both front and rear views, my suggestion is to go with the LG Innotek. I've done a ton of research, and when it comes to the complete package between software and hardware and functionality, I feel like this camera is a winner. There are plenty of reviews online that you could read, and this camera always comes out on top or towards the top. It carries a bit of a premium, but I think it's worth it. I'm going to be going to a racetrack next weekend, so I'll be recording some action shots, both front and back, and using them in the film that I'll be making for this channel. So stay tuned for some cool action shots from this camera, straight from the racetrack. And if you like that video, hit the like button, and if you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button. I hope to be making a ton of videos for myself and for you guys and girls. I'm glad people are enjoying these things, and it allows me to, again, share my passion for cars and sort of geeking out about cars with you. So I appreciate you watching, I appreciate you taking the time, and I hope to see you during my next video. See you later. Bye.